it's Tori,
Hi, it's Chanel.
and we're so glad to be back with episode 5 of Glad We Talked podcast.
Yay, number 5.
It is amazing. That was an awkward pause. 'Cause
you were digesting it.
I was chewing on it for a second. I'm like, is it really episode 5?
It is. How crazy.
How have you been?
Good. It's been a wildly busy week.
Yeah, you have a big week that you've gone through, and that's coming up.
Yeah,
Your
it's one
social
of those, weeks that you have something every night.
Yeah, your social check engine lights on. Like, girl, you got to take a rest.
Yeah, thank God we have this episode today because I need some pointers for myself.
Yeah, I think we all do. I'm feeling it. I was yawning before this.
Yeah.
I think this season, Christmas and in general work, it's end of year.
It's a busy season.
We're burning on both ends.
Yeah. So we went to a live holiday show last night for another podcast, not our podcast.
A different one.
A different one.
But that's kind of cool that we can say not our podcast.
I know, right?
I kind of get a little woo.
Everyone's like, we know you don't have a live show.
They're like, you don't have a live show, but if you want to come perform in the living room, that's fine. You can book
Very
us for holiday
intimate.
parties. You can book us for bat mitzvahs, Christmas. We'll come to your local
We're here. We're
coffee
available.
shops. You can book us.
Yeah. So we did that last night, and then tonight I have a holiday party. Tomorrow I have a birthday party at my apartment for Martin. Sunday I have a party. It's like
Party,
never
party,
ending.
party. Fun,
Yeah.
fun, fun.
So I think after this weekend, I'm just looking forward to resting a bit.
Relaxing.
Yeah, because right now I'm so busy that I feel like when I am resting, I'm not being productive, and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah, maybe you don't have to feel guilty about
I know
resting.
you shouldn't feel guilty.
I was talking with my therapist about this, and she's
Mhm.
like, you have to do one thing during the day that is selfishly for you and comfortable, and it makes you feel better, even if you have dishes in the sink. And I'm like, if I'm doing something other than cleaning my dishes that are in the sink, it's going to bother me. Like, I feel like I'm not allowed to
Focus
relax.
on other things. Yeah,
I'm not allowed to have those moments of relaxation until everything's
done and squared away,
But
and it's not on your mind.
yeah, but like the reality is you can't, then you're leaving no time for you because it's the end of the day. You're like, all right, time to go to bed, you
Mhm.
know?
You're like, I'm resting and I'm chilling right now, but I should be doing these other
Exactly.
things. And it's like we need to just take time for ourselves. So
Yeah.
I think this is a good topic for us today, and hopefully everybody else.
I haven't been doing much because of ankle. It's just ankle now. It's not the ankle.
Oh
it's just
yeah,
ankle.
just ankle.
And big boot. So I've been
She's one name like Madonna.
getting yes, or Cher. We can name her. Just
I
ankle.
like ankle.
Okay, but yeah, I haven't
How
been.
are you doing?
I haven't been doing much. We went to the show. That was exciting. But if you listened to last week's episode, I haven't been feeling in the holiday spirit. And now I'm starting to because I took your advice and I've been forcing myself to listen to Christmas music. I forced myself to put some decorations out. I decided to put away the pink boas.
Oh,
I have to throw the pumpkin out.
I didn't say put away the pink boas, just to be clear.
That was mine.
Okay.
I was
Just
saying
making
that I
sure.
felt everything was all over and I wasn't
the five holidays.
yeah,
in
I
one.
had too much happening. So I put the pink boas away. I'm listening to Christmas music, put some more decorations out. Not going to do the tree, which is kind of like, I guess, an
Right.
outstanding item, which we're going to get into in a second. But I just think it's not the year with Kooky Boo.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You're a puma. You're a little miniature puma.
She's a wild thing.
So that all helped.
It all helped. And then I got my nails done today and they're
They're
cheerfully
so pretty.
sparkly.
They're gold ombre.
Yeah,
They're so pretty.
they're fun.
Every time you get your nails done, I'm like, can you explain to me again what you get done? It's like the gel tip.
I get the UV gel extensions,
Right.
which I think we could do as a real review.
Yeah, I'm dying to get them. Okay.
love to do it with you.
You want to share? You're
Yeah,
ready
I want to share, but this isn't the time and this isn't the place because we have a lot of stuff we want to get to.
Okay, do you want to do the outstanding items? Because honestly, most of them are yours.
Yeah, and people like the outstanding items, so I'm glad you guys enjoy them. Last week we talked a little bit about Spirited, the movie with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, and we left it hanging if Ryan Reynolds does sing and dance because I couldn't believe it, and in fact he does. Will Smith.
Will Smith, new character.
Will Ferrell.
New
Will Smith is
character
not in
has
this movie.
entered the chat.
Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds both sing and dance in Spirited.
Well, it sounds like it's good you even got through it because I had someone text me and say they got through 5 minutes of it. So it sounds like it's not like the best, but
Yeah,
it sounds like it's like spirited.
it was
No pun
Spirited.
intended.
Mitch, did you enjoy it? I did. All right, Mitch liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 so far.
2 out of 3. It's okay. You can watch it and let me know.
Not bad odds.
Do we want to talk about our big kind of outstanding item?
Sure.
Thanks, Mom, for pointing this one out. We put in the wrong phone signal. So when we introduced the busy content, which we haven't released yet, but we inserted a sound which was supposed to be the busy signal, but it was the phone going dead signal. So we'll reinsert the busy signal here, which will identify busy content.
Honestly, between the both of us, it's funny that we didn't even recognize it because I don't think I've heard a busy signal since like the 2000s.
I heard one today when I was calling the nail salon.
Oh,
because,
really?
Yeah, our timing changed, so I had to cancel your appointment, and I kept getting the busy signal.
Oh, look at that. It was
I
a
know
sign.
they use a landline,
Okay, that makes sense.
but it was my fault because I labeled the wrong file.
But then I listened to it and I was like, this sounds right. I was like, this feels like it should be what it needs to be.
Yeah, so that's an outstanding item. And then a few people texted me asking what I got my dad for Christmas, and I'm not going to tell them until after Christmas. So that is an outstanding item that will be covered in a later date.
Everyone is on the edge of their seats. I know what it is, though.
You do.
I think it's thoughtful.
Thanks. No, don't give away any secrets.
Oh, is that a spoiler alert?
Thoughtful? Yes. I only give unthoughtful gifts. After we talked about and putting yourself out there, episode 3, how stressful it is to give a gift. I'm like, no, just unthoughtful. Here's some toilet paper and maybe like a...
I think all your gifts are very thoughtful.
Thank you. I try. But on a more serious note, I just wanted to take a second to talk about mental health. We have been trying to keep these episodes a little bit lighter, a little bit more cheerful leading up to the holidays, because while we do want to talk about really serious topics like mental health and self-identity, career, race, etc., there are some really heavy things we want to get into. We knew that the holidays, people want to be happy and enjoying that time, but it also can be a very stressful time for people, and sometimes just honestly depressing. So while it's an important topic, I just wanted to tap in today as someone that struggles with mental health, saying that it's really important, not just during this time, but all year, to check in with your family and friends and loved ones, to just show them that they're sorry. It's a little hard because I feel like there's a lot of pressure to talk about this and say the right thing.
No, you're doing great.
Thanks. But I just reach out to family and friends, people that you haven't talked to in a while. If you know someone struggles with mental health, just put a little extra effort in if they're not talking as much or reaching out as much, because sometimes they just need you to reach back out to them, and check on the people that are seemingly okay. So the people that are the life of the party, the people that you never think would do anything wrong or have any mental issues, just check on them, because we don't know what's happening inside other people's heads, and it's just important to take care of your mental health, look out for other people's mental health. I thoroughly believe that mental health isn't an individual's journey. It takes a village and a really strong support network. So reach out, spread the love.
That's great. I think that it's really important that you said that, because I know that a lot of people are struggling. And I just want to say, be kind to everyone, like friends, family, and strangers. Like Tori said, you never know what someone's going through. Even like a smile at a stranger, a nice text to a friend, a quick call to a family member can really just change their day. It takes a few seconds or a few minutes, and honestly, you can just really make a small impact, but an important one on someone's journey.
That's so true. Sometimes we think of someone and we wonder, like, how are they doing? Or I wonder what's going on with them. You could so easily just text or call them.
I know there's so many times that someone pops in your head and you're like, oh, I hope they're doing well, and you don't reach out. I think it's really important to just send a quick text or, pick up the phone and call someone. I think you can just really make someone's day.
And then they'll feel glad that they talked.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that glad you talked.
Yeah.
They'll just feel glad that we all talked.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I think it's really important. Like Tori said, we were trying to keep things light for the holidays, but I think next year, which is a few weeks away, we'll get into some topics that I think are both really important to us, and we hope to dive deeper into this.
Yeah, I know we're looking at our January content calendar, and we have exciting topics about career and relationships. So
friendships.
It's coming, guys. We're just trying to keep things a little positive to bring out. Is it ring out?
Bring out the new year.
To ring in the new year.
Bring in the new year.
So we're bringing out the old year. We're just trying to keep things
Nailed
light.
it.
We're trying to keep
Absolutely
things
crushed it.
light and positive through the end of the year.
So, kind of just moving on to the Instagram polls. We put up a poll this week asking everyone a little bit about like rest and self care,
Mhm.
and we want to share the results. So we put up 3 different questions. We're going to share the first 2 now. The first one was, do you feel you get enough rest?
Overwhelming response.
Overwhelming. 87% said no, what does that even feel like? And only 13% said yes.
I want to know what those 13% are really feeling.
What do you do
Yeah.
to get rest?
And what does that feel like?
Right. Like, how does it feel to be fully rested?
My theory,
Yeah.
they're robots. They go into their little iPod charging station at night and they're like,
Oh, like a little Roomba.
yes.
That's cute. Well, hats off to them because that's great.
But for the rest of you, this episode is for you because we're diving deep into this,
For the rest of you, I can relate. And Tori can relate.
constantly relating to that.
So the next question was, how often do you recharge? Most people said I really should figure that out, which was like 52%. And then kind of not really closely behind, but a few votes for each one were like every day, every night, only on the weekends, and then whenever I take a vacation.
Oh, interesting.
What's yours?
I would like to say every night, but I think I only sleep every night. So really, when we look at the breadth and width of resting, probably on weekends.
Okay,
How about you?
I said I really should figure that out because I feel like during the week I'm working, and then the weekends are always like packed with something.
I mean, we just led this whole intro tapping into your social week. You are a social definition of social butterfly.
I know, and my wings are flailing.
Are you like feeling more like
weak?
Are you feeling more like a moth right now than you are a butterfly?
I'm such a moth right now.
You're
Oh my
still a
God.
beautiful monarch butterfly, but
Aw.
your wings a little bit like
Stop it.
what? And it's like, ugh.
Okay, stop it. So yeah, I really should figure that out. Also, this episode's for you too, because I feel the same. Tori rests on weekends, but I think everyone could use a little bit of a recharge.
I say I rest on weekends, and I don't even know what that really means. So
Yeah.
I that's what I think I do, but I'm curious to learn what rest really looks like.
Yeah, and then the last question we did was, what's your favorite way to recharge? And you all shared some of your favorite ways that you kind of rest and recharge, and we're going to share that at the end of the episode.
I really enjoy these polls because I think it's cool to see what people are responding and
I agree.
not feeling like alone in some of the responses.
I agree. And a lot of people responded to this one. So it sounds like this was I know Tori was interested to know if this was going to be like a good topic.
Yeah. My friend Jess, I have to give a shout out. My friend Jess did suggest this topic and we really appreciate it because I think, as Chanel said, it's well needed. And especially towards the end of the year, working in corporate America, and maybe you're not working in corporate America, maybe you're just getting into the holiday spirit or you're a teacher and you've been, getting ready for tests. We're all feeling it and we all could use some rest during this kind of downtime at the end of the year.
Yep, I agree. When you said teacher, it reminded me of my best friend Chrissy, who is a teacher, and she also was going through grad school for 2 years, and she just finished yesterday.
Ah,
So I hope she gets some well-deserved rest this weekend.
we can pop some champagne for you, Chrissy.
Yeah, Chrissy. So, yeah, do we want to get into the topic today?
Yeah, let's get into it.
So, we want to talk a little bit about rest today, a lot of it about rest today,
Yeah.
and recharge and self care and just taking care of your overall well being for a healthier mindset. So, when we were thinking about this topic, we had like 2 major questions. I think one was like, what does it look like? And the other was, what should it feel like? And I know, Tori, you did a little bit of research on that and also like just an overall definition of the word rest.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research, meaning I went to the Google and
I love the
when I
Google.
typed rest definition into Google, it said to cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. Another definition is an instance of or period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous activity or stressful activity. And I think it's a little vague, honestly. I mean, it's not vague. It's telling you it's mostly about movement and activity. But I think for us, a lot of it could also be mental rest and different types of rest we need from our day to day beyond just sleep. Sleep's definitely a part of it, but I don't know. I was interested to explore this topic, especially going into the holiday period. when we all could be using some rest.
And after.
And after.
Lots of
Exactly.
rest after this.
And into the new year. So hopefully this gives us a few tips and you guys some tips to take with you.
Yeah. And so like Tori said, we found that like there are different types of rest. So we did a little bit of research and found this Goop article. There's a board certified medicine physician named Sandra Dalton Smith who is featured in the article. She wrote a book called Sacred Rest: Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, and Restore Your Sanity.
We're gonna have to read that.
Read the book.
Yeah. Just because we're like definitely into this article, but reading the book might be even better.
Yeah, exactly. So in the article, she presents ideas from her book that we all need 7 different types of rest to feel fully like ourselves, which is kind of crazy because I do have a feeling that many of us probably don't get enough rest or know what it feels like to be fully rested or fully ourselves based on the 7 different types of rest she thinks we need.
Yeah, because you can get like 8 hours of rest and still not feel rested.
Yeah, there's just so many other factors that come into play. When reading the article, basically was saying that there might be just one specific type of rest you need. Like maybe you're getting 6 of them and one of them is missing. So she kind of talks about how to know which one is needed.
Oh, that's great. And there's a quiz that is part of this article. We haven't taken it yet, but we're going to do it as an outstanding item. So we can link it and you guys can take it too. It might be interesting to see what rest you're needing if it's not just sleep.
Right. So the first type of rest she talks about is physical rest. Basically, this one has 2 components. There's an active and a passive. The passive is things like sleeping and napping, which, we all know we need. And then the physical active component is things like yoga, stretching, getting massage.
More relaxing things.
Yeah, but you're kind of moving your body.
Physically relaxing things. That's how I'm going to call it.
Physically moving your body, right?
Right.
So these things are important because they help you, especially if you're in a very like stagnant position all day. Like if you work at a desk job, me and you do, physical rest is really important for people who sit all day.
I just got a massage for my birthday. I haven't had one in such a long time. I only had one other massage in my entire life besides like the nail salon, like upper body massage.
Oh yeah.
So I went.
I do like those though.
Me too. Me too. I think
they're like over your sweater though, and you're like, ow.
Yeah, it's like I'm wearing a wool sweater. This isn't that comfortable, but you can still go ahead. And I remember walking out of there floating. Like I just felt, and it was around the corner from my apartment, and I just felt so relaxed and so good. And I could tell I needed that type of relaxation. It was different. It was totally different than sleep, but I really felt relieved and reset, recharged. It was definitely a different kind of rest.
Yeah, sometimes you just know you need a massage. Like it's funny you mentioned the nail salon massage because I was at the nail salon 2 days ago and I was just sitting there like drying my nails and I was like, it'd be really great to get one. So I like kind of spur of the moment did it. And it's just nice to like have your muscles like touched and moved.
Yeah.
It honestly just helped.
It also helps with your mental state because I think it makes you focus on something other than your worries or problems too.
Yeah.
So big fan of massage for rest.
Yeah, me too.
I do vinyasa yoga, which is restful, but it's definitely a lot more energy, different than hatha yoga. We can get into the different yogas.
Yeah, you know a lot of different types of yoga.
I like yoga.
Okay.
But I could see where you do like lighter movement that's restful.
So in the article, she says that the ways that you know that you need physical rest is if you have a lot of body aches and pain, or if you have like swelling in your legs and feet after sitting at your desk, or like spasms in your back, which I know I have like 5 times a week. So
that's what brought me to massage parlor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Sounds dirty.
Yeah, so if you feel any of those things, then physical rest should probably be at the top of your list. Okay. Second type of rest is mental rest.
I feel like I need this all the time. I'm not kidding. Like right now I'm like, oh God, I need to take a mental break.
Yeah, so that's basically what she says in the article that someone who doesn't have enough mental rest might find themselves going down to sleep at night and their mind is racing and you're not able to like fall asleep because your thoughts are just like constant.
She's in my head.
You're like, this is me.
This is me.
I need mental rest. Another example she says is like a person walks into a store and they're trying to remember like the 3 items that they went there for and they can't remember the information, which honestly happens to me all the time, which is why
overloaded.
You're overloaded with like too much information in your mind. You're thinking about too many things. Your mind's constantly racing, which is why I write down things a lot because I'm like, I'll walk into a store and I'll be like, what am I here for? I'm like, toothpaste and
Yeah.
and then I walk out of Target or a grocery store with like 5 other things that I didn't need.
Right. Well, that's a different topic. I think those places kind of set you up to buy things you don't need.
They set you up for failure.
They know that you're you need mental rest, and they prey on that. They're like, okay, this person probably is overstimulated, needs a mental break, but we're going to give them a ton of stuff to choose from before they make it through to the checkout line.
That's so true.
That's how they set up their stores.
Oh my gosh. And I
I'm
give
just
into
gonna
it
say,
every
they
time.
distract you at the beginning with that like $5, $1 bin. They're like, hey, look at these little cute pumpkins or these little cute chickies that you don't
Yeah.
need for the holiday.
That's why I write lists and I try and stick to them. I'm like,
Yeah.
I go in there like blind.
Lists don't exist at
Yeah.
Target.
So that's like an example of someone who needs mental rest.
Well, lists are good. I think if you especially know you're tired, then you have the list as kind of a backup. For me, with someone with mental rest, I found like meditation really helpful to kind of slow my mind down
Mm-hmm.
and think a little bit more inwards instead of all the external things that are affecting me.
Do you find that when you meditate, you are able to shut off like all the things that you're constantly thinking about?
It takes a little while, honestly, especially if Rhodey's near me and he's like crying to play, but
Yeah.
there is a point when you do it, and it might not be the first time, the second time, the third time, but I do think you look for that kind of inner peace.
So you're able to like kind of shut off and decompress for like 10 or 15 minutes for whenever you're doing it.
Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
so. Like, I've never used Headspace, but I know a lot of people like Headspace. For me, meditation was part of the Mind Body Revival project
Mm-hmm.
I worked on, but I did find the benefits to help like slow down those racing thoughts.
I've used an app as well to meditate before. I think I liked it. I don't know if it like did what it needed to do, or maybe
Right.
I need to do it more. I do find that I have trouble. Like I feel like when I am supposed to be like in my thoughts, that's when I think the most.
Yeah.
I'm like things just like pop into my head of what I need to do, and I feel like it's like doing the opposite for me. So I need to like learn how to like turn that off better.
Yeah, I think it's also multitasking. We have so many different stimulants
Mhm.
happening. I mean, we have right now I have two cell phones in front of me, my laptop. I'm talking to you, you have your laptop phones. There's so many external factors and we're never completely turned off. So I think we're constantly thinking, and we've gotten used to multitasking, which can be helpful sometimes, but also I think causes us to have that overload and need mental rest more.
Right. We just have like so much going on around us. It's hard to like not do more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, so for people that are maybe struggling with mental rest, I suggest maybe trying meditating. We can also look into a few more options and keep them in outstanding items for next week.
Yeah.
All right, Chanelli, tell me what's the next one. I already see it, and I know this is
This is
ding,
a big
ding.
one.
Me too.
Social rest is the next one. This one is more about how a person can be like giving a lot of themselves to their family, their friends, their coworkers, their work, and they don't feel like they have enough time for themselves. So it's basically saying you need rest from giving so much to other people, which I'm like a notorious people pleaser. So I feel like
You
I'm,
are?
I feel like I'm in constant need of social rest. I feel like my social calendar is always so full that I find little time for myself.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those things that for me, like, is the biggest one that I need to work on.
I'm always surprised at how you do it, but I can tell when you need that rest. I'm an introvert, so I kind of know how to socially rest a little bit more, but I know for you it's a lot and you want to make sure you are that social butterfly, but you have to
Yeah, exactly.
give back.
Yeah. For this one, I think a big thing for social rest is kind of prioritizing yourself and learning to say no to certain things, even when it feels a little bit unnatural. Like, I think a lot of times I say no because I'm like, they're going to be mad at me. And it's like, if you're taking time for yourself and you know you need this, like, people who care about you are not going to be upset at you.
Right. I was on Instagram the other day and I saw one of the influencers I follow talk about if it's not a hell yes for the day it would be planned, then it's a no. So if you're not ready to go tonight or today, this morning, whatever day it is, if you're not ready to do that activity, then you probably won't be in the future. So maybe that's a helpful trick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't really done it, but it was interesting to me. I was like, oh, I mean, now it's making me think. It is making me think, like, do I want to do this? Most of the times I'm saying yes because I am more introverted. I want to go out and do things,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think about it.
Yeah. I do like that, like, hell yes thing, but sometimes it's like not everything's going to be hell yes, but you have to, like like for you, I think like you want to go out and be social. So maybe for you it's like it's not a hell yes, but I do want to go and I do want to be more social. So maybe I should say yes to this.
Yeah.
And for me, maybe things that are hell yes, I should say no to.
FOMO.
Yeah, I have too much FOMO
Are,
what is the issue.
are you an empath?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
So everyone loved our little James story the other day. And
Oh
I
my God, I
thought,
know.
yeah, we have to do another whole James segment, I think. But for this purpose of social rest, I want to share a little learning I had from one of my sessions with him. As an empath, he said that, I take a lot on and that other people's energies affect me very easily because I care for people. And one of the tricks he taught me was to imagine this like white orb between me and another person, whether they're physically there or I'm thinking about someone, and say they're worrying or they're upset and I'm feeling for them and I want to help them, and I take on that energy maybe too much, and then it starts to drag my energy down. That to pretend this or between us is this playing field. And anytime like their negative thoughts, negative feelings, worries, anxieties start to creep over, I can empathize with them and say, I feel for you, but not to let it come into me and become what is it?
All encompassing.
Not to let that become all encompassing into me. And then I, in return, don't have a lot of energy or good energy to put out in the world. So I think it's a helpful tip, especially for people that are empathetic or feel like they give a lot to other people. Just remember you're a little orb and keep it shining bright.
Yeah, I like that. I think like that happens sometimes. I can like feel someone's energy, like even if they're not speaking, like I'll feel like a tension or like if they're anxious, I'll like kind of feel that, and I start to feel that. Sometimes you take it on, and sometimes you can just tell. It depends on the situation, but I think that's good because I think we all need a little bit of separation from those feelings.
Your orb can be any color: pink, blue, green.
I'm gonna go with pink.
I know. I keep mine's a little white, but with a little hint of blue.
Cute.
So keeping in that kind of spiritual mindset, this leads really well into spiritual rest, which I kind of think is thinking about your greater purpose in life, whether that's religious or your meaning, what drives you. I think that can be a really exhausting thing to constantly thinking about, is what your greater purpose is. I know I do that, especially like with my job, and that can be a deficit. Sandra goes on to talk about that for someone that goes to work simply for a paycheck, or they're trying to think like, okay, I'm at work, but what does it really matter? It doesn't really make a difference in the world. And a lot of us, I feel that way, that we want to make sure our work has meaning and that we want to have purpose and really identify with ourselves. Sandra suggests that to combat spiritual rest, you should find a way to connect to desire for meaning, whether that's through community, a work culture where you feel like what you do matters, or a faith-based culture. Do you feel like that at all?
Yeah, I like this one because I feel like it's really easy to feel that in like a 9 to 5, I think.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really silly, but I follow a lot of Instagram accounts that are like people who are giving back to communities who don't have a lot,
Right.
they're in poverty. And I'll like, obviously I'll watch them and cry, but I'm always thinking like, that is like such amazing work that they do. Like they must feel so fulfilled spiritual, like in this one specifically, like they must feel so fulfilled that they're like giving back to this community and giving back to these people who need so much. And I think sometimes I'll watch it and like feel like I'm not doing enough for people. And I think that that's kind of what she's talking about. It's like, what am I doing that's helping?
That's also exhausting, though, like to have that constant thought and not meeting or fulfilling that need of having purpose.
So I think like her sentence about how to feel a little bit more connected spiritually to what you're doing is good, because there are different ways to feel spiritually fulfilled. Like giving back to these communities aren't the only way. There are other ways to feel fulfilled. But I just think that like guilt can creep in sometimes when you like watch these things and you see how many people need help and you're like, what am I doing to help?
Yeah.
So I think we need to find other ways too.
And maybe it's not just giving back to the greater good, but it could also be about work and what your purpose is there. So maybe your job isn't necessarily your dream job, but your community feels good. So you feel that purpose within the people you're working with. You make deep connections there. If you're in a situation where you're not connecting with people, you're not doing a job that you like, you're feeling down, that can be really hard. And I can totally get where you need some spiritual rest then.
Yeah. Or you do love your job and you're this is something you've always wanted to do. Like I love my job. I just have these like small moments that I'm like, I wish that I also could do these things to help other people.
That's like dipping your toes into extracurriculars
Exactly. Like,
or bringing it to work even.
right. I think like I used to volunteer a lot and maybe that's a good way to get into it for me if this is what's important to me. Everyone has to find out what is important to them, what makes them feel like they have a sense of belonging and kind of roll with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So, do you want to do the next one?
Sure. I identify with this one a lot too. Sensory rest. This is kind of what we go back to, I guess, earlier when we were talking about all those outside stimuluses that affect you from your body to your mind, whether consciously or subconsciously, if you're aware of them. I know that we live in New York City or the metropolitan area, and there's constant stimulus, and if you're from out of town or maybe you're just not used to a city, you hear everything. You hear the subway, you hear the taxis, you hear people yelling.
It's a lot.
You hear cell phones and I don't know. I'm just listening right now outside your apartment. I can hear the train. Yeah. The lights are going off. It's a lot. It's beautiful. I mean, maybe not the people yelling, but there's a lot of sensory things happening and in our day to day, even at like the grocery store. So that's when you're taking those breaks away from the stimulus. So putting your phones away, turning the lights off, kind of not isolating, but giving yourself that time to calm down, remove the stimulus.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I've done is turned on a notification on my Instagram. So if I go over an hour, which I don't know how I have an hour of my day to look at Instagram, but then I get a notification. I'm like,
it's really easy to hit an hour.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. But then I know, okay, it's time to put that away. So how kind of managing all those stimulus.
Yeah, and I think that one's important. I read on the article that if you don't get enough sensory rest, it can lead to things like rage, irritation, anger. Like I think that's like a
the look on my face right now.
Why is your face like that?
I'm just worried about myself.
Are you finding that you need more types of rest than you thought?
Like maybe that Instagram timer isn't enough.
So I also thought this was funny because we live in New York, like we said, and New Yorkers have a notorious reputation for being like rude and irritable. And I'm like, maybe it's because we're not getting enough sensory rest.
I think so. I visit my parents and they don't live near the city, and either it's going for a walk downtown, which downtown is like so tiny, or on the beach or in a field or in a park. I feel so much more like
zen, calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too in New York, like the commuting can get a lot, like hopping on different subways and like the stairs and running and rushing, and we're always going somewhere quickly. So I think this is a big one for me and you.
I wonder for parents, are children considered a sensory trigger?
I don't know. Like crying, maybe like the noises, like the crying
like,
and the.
I'm just trying to think beyond New York City. Like, what are the other sensory types of things? That's a lot. Like, if you're at home, I know we have Rhodey and the cat, but if you add a child to that, that's a lot. I don't know if that's the same thing. I'm not saying a child is an iPhone, but
I think it's just any major distractions while you're trying to. The background noise while you're trying to be productive. Like, you can't just sit at your computer and work, or you can't just watch TV because there's all these other things going on around you that you're listening to, hearing background noises. So I think it's like an overload of noises, sounds, lights, all those things.
Meditation again.
Yeah, this kind of feels like in the same line as mental rest.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things have overlap, and that might be why it's hard to identify them sometimes.
Yeah.
And then we just go to bed.
So,
I'm kidding.
So the sixth type of rest, this one kind of hit home for a different reason, but this one is emotional rest. And this one is more of when you carry emotional feelings inside and you don't let them out, like you have no one to talk to. The kind of example she uses was that she was a doctor and she would come home and she would see all these things at work, the ICU, and she would see all these like sad things all day of, people dying, and she would come home and she wouldn't let it out. Like she would just try and put on a happy face for her family. And she was saying that took a toll on her, and it takes a toll on a lot of people because you're not letting out all of these feelings that you have. And I'm
That's
like, I read
hard.
this and I was like, I'm like the opposite. Like, I can't hold on to a feeling for like more than 5 minutes without like word vomiting it. Like, I feel something, like when I feel like I need to say something, I like need to say it.
It boils up
It
in you.
boils up in me. And whether I like vent to someone else about it or I talk to the person directly, like I cannot hold something in.
I could see where that could be good and bad.
Yeah.
Where it's hard because I applaud you for being able to bring things up that might be emotional for you. And then I could also see where sometimes you're like, I didn't want to get emotional. But I can also see for people that aren't able to speak that. Imagine having that boiling and you just can't verbalize it.
Yeah, I think it can be hard for someone who's like maybe not in touch with their emotions or doesn't like talking about it, or like Sandra said in the article, just doesn't want to overload her family, so she puts on a happy face for them because she
Yeah.
doesn't want to stress them out too.
Must be a lot of moms. One's for you moms out there. We
You're holding on to things because you don't want to burden your kids, or you want to keep a positive, like especially during COVID, I'm sure, like we're all going through this like crazy time, and it's probably hard to tell your kids what we're going through
and
without sounding negative.
in that way, not that I'm an expert at all, but if you are struggling with emotional rest, maybe one place to start is journaling your feelings
Mm,
or free writing your thoughts and feelings so you're not vocalizing it.
I think that's a really good one.
She doesn't suggest this in the article.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of
free ball
going
in
out
here.
there. Again, from the program I did enjoy free writing. I felt like I was able to put a lot of emotion on paper, and that's a useful tool for me. Also, therapy.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Therapy is a game changer.
You have to find the right therapist.
You do. And that's a whole other episode we will do.
Yeah.
We promise. But being able to talk your feelings and emotions to someone that
Is unbiased.
they feel invested, but they're also getting a paycheck and they're helping you, I recommend it.
Yeah, I think you can be surprised how much like just venting can help. Just saying how you feel can help like unburden you so much.
Yeah, because that boil finally gets to boil over somewhere.
Right. I think just to end that one, what Sandra says in the article is the ways that you need emotional rest are if you feel like you always have to keep your emotions in check and you feel like you never truly have the freedom to be authentic about what you're feeling. So, pay attention to that and see if there's ways to have an outlet.
That's great. And speaking of outlets, that leads into the seventh type
And
of rest.
final.
Yes, I love this one. It's creative rest, which Sandra goes on to define as not just any type of creativity, but really it's innovation and an admiration of the natural beauty in life. So that can be anything from the wondrous ocean and forests and nature to dance and art and any type of creative outlet like that. She goes on to say that it doesn't have to just be creative in the sense of creating art or music or nature. It's really just innovative. So when you are having a hard time expressing any innovation, brainstorming, or having that creative outlet where you feel like you're problem solving or you're doing anything to think outside the box, that's when you know you kind of need creative rest. I think some people are more naturally creative than others,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that means you can't
Be creative.
be creative or innovative.
Yeah. I think I probably struggle with this one too. Like, I don't get enough natural beauty, I think.
You mean
I think I get too many
the
cars and
concrete
bridges.
jungle isn't beautiful for you?
But maybe like people who live out in the suburbs or people who live in the mountains or people who have like a lake house or beach house, like they probably get a lot of this,
Yeah.
which is good. Like, I think you should utilize that and go outside and take walks and sit on the beach and, be one with nature.
Yeah. Or take a pottery class. Do something creative that way. Be innovative. I don't know. If something's not working in the kitchen, try something else. I think it's just like having that little spark
Mm-hmm.
to think a little bit differently. I could be wrong, but I'm kind of interpreting this as autopilot, where you're feeling mundane routines
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you're not getting nature or you're not thinking in new ways. And that doesn't have to be like a big way, but maybe like one day you turn left instead of going right and take the long way. It's just
Yeah.
variety maybe.
I think you're right. I think it is kind of like autopilot and just mundane routines. So I do this 305 fitness class, which is like a dance workout class, which I know I talked to you all about.
You love that.
But I feel like that's kind of my small creative rest because I'm not really a nature person. I do enjoy like dance and music, so I think I turn to those a little bit more. You feel like so confident after, you like sweat, endorphins, it's new dance moves, you're meeting new people. It's like it's a really fun way, I think, to get in touch with like the creative side, like you said.
Yeah. We're both in creative jobs too. So I think we're constantly being pushed to be creative in different ways and innovative. I like going down to the Hudson River and walking there, especially at sunrise. I think it's pretty to get that little bit of nature while we're in the concrete jungle. So
Yeah, I think that's a good one too, like
we're
taking walks.
traveling
Yeah, and traveling.
if you can.
I love traveling.
Yeah.
But I hate like having to wait for like the 5 months or 6 months to
Yeah.
have that for like a week. So I think like you're saying, like it's important to do this like sprinkles when you can.
Each day's
Switch
a
it up.
new
Take a
day.
left instead of right, like she said.
Yeah. So for all of you lacking creativity, try scooping your coffee beans with your left hand instead of your right hand tomorrow.
Look at that.
Or take a bath instead of a shower. Be creative.
Yeah. So on that note, like hearing these, do you feel like you relate to one the most? Like, do you feel like one stood out to you of what kind of rest you need?
So I thought I always just needed more sleep. I was like, if I just got an extra hour, if I just took the time to go to bed earlier, I would feel rested. But learning about these, I'm like, oh, there's different things that I need. I definitely need less stimulation. I maybe need more activity just because with big boot and sprained ankle, I haven't been doing as much. And I have been feeling a little bit more tired despite not being as active. So I think that I definitely learned a lot from this article and seeing where I can apply what Sandra was talking about
Mm-hmm.
and feeling more restful. I'm really curious to start trying these things. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think I related the most, I think, as I said before, to the social one,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the physical one would be helpful too. I think just doing more stretching and yoga more often, but that's also falls in line with prioritizing myself.
See, they all
It
have
all-
overlap.
Yeah, exactly.
So I definitely want to take the test that they have linked here.
Yeah, so there's like a quiz at the end.
We'll both take it and we'll let you know what type of rest we actually need in next week's episode. And
Yeah.
we'll link it for you guys to test it out. And then you can start. You like if you feel like you need some rest and you don't know where to start based on the conversation we had today, then you'll know.
Love that. And love that. I think that's great. And if you guys want to share your quiz results with us, like DM us and maybe we can give some shout outs to what kind of rest everyone needs. So maybe you're not alone in the type of rest you need.
Yeah, and we did get some good suggestions from the IG poll on what ways you guys rest. And I think Chanel's going to read a few of them.
Yeah. So some people said a long walk. We got some self-care routines, Sunday resets, fresh air walks. That sounds like a physical type. Bath time. Love that
Creativity.
one. I never do baths. Sleeping in, Pure Barre, cooking, reading, watching a movie, going to see one in theaters alone.
Oh,
Someone said Xbox PS5. Can you
I
guess who that one is?
I think that was Mitchell.
Yes, it was Mitch, your boyfriend. Mine was binge watching reality TV, which is so funny because that's exactly the type of social rest I need. I just want to sit in front of the TV.
Oh, that's funny. I was like, is that physical rest? It's a combo. That's you time.
Right, it's me time. Pouring energy back into myself by watching reality TV.
And now I think it's fun that when you were thinking about what rest you're doing, and if you're like, oh, I need to go watch TV, then you're like, that's because I'm tired in this area. Now you can identify the types of tired and appropriately tackle them.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can be like, oh, I've definitely had too much sensory overload this week, or I've had too much of this, and know which like rest to start
And
with.
why?
And why, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
had a
maybe
busy week with people, then you know you need social rest. Yours were sleeping, watching TV in a clean apartment with a glass of wine and a blanket, going for a walk.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love the clean apartment with a glass of wine. That nothing feels better.
Right. It's like everything is perfect. Your sensory things are done. Your apartment, yeah, everything's
It
about-
gives you
for me,
mental
says-
rest.
It is that mental rest.
Because you're not thinking like I gotta wash the dishes, I gotta clean the kitchen.
I think I have too much. Was it sensory rest? I need sensory rest because I am a little bit cluttered, and I think I need to cut back on that. And I've been having that drive to be like, I want to throw shit away.
Mm,
I think I need to just start doing it. Maybe I won't feel as like
yeah, overwhelmed by
Yeah,
the stuff that you're
it's
surrounded
life.
by. Yeah.
because I come here and I'm like, oh, it's so clean. Clean and dirty are different. What was it?
Clean and messy.
Clean and messy are different. I'm messy, but I'm always clean.
Okay. That's fair. So that's the article. That is our rest episode. I think really quickly we wanted to do a real review.
Yeah.
So as you guys know, our real review every week is basically us trying something new, whether it's a recipe, a beauty product, a new trend, and giving you guys our thoughts on it. So this week
we are doing a recipe. I made soup in my slow cooker, and
it was so good.
Thanks. Well, that's the real review. Chanel was over and we hadn't eaten, and I was like, "Do you want soup?" And I was very nervous.
It was like so cold out too.
Yeah, it was a perfect soup day. So I had made this huge crock pot of soup. I have to toot my own horn.
It was really good.
It was good.
You also were doing that thing that people do to like manage expectations. You're like, I put extra lemon in it, so sorry if it's a little tart. And I made like a lot, and I was like, just pour the soup and let me try it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
I wasn't sure about the lemon. So I got the recipe from Eating Well. So it had 11 ratings, 10 reviews, and 4.5 stars. So I knew it was going to be good. And the recipe was slow cooker Mediterranean diet stew. And the diet word's triggering. I didn't pick it for the diet purposes. I picked it based on the ingredients and I really liked it. So I don't want people to think this is like
a diet
type
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. This was just because I like Mediterranean. I read the ingredients. It was vegetarian. It was for me.
I think it just has really good like ingredients for your body. So
yeah,
I think maybe that's why they say that. But it's just healthy, but it's delicious.
Yeah. Should I read the ingredients?
No, we'll link it.
Okay, I'll link it, but I'll tell you the base. The base is fire roasted diced tomatoes, vegetable broth, onion, carrot.
there it is.
Chickpeas. So it was really just healthy. And I added kale and I called for kale and it was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was like very comforting to taste. Like it's nice, like you said, with a clean apartment, like that vibe, like a clean apartment. You sit down with your soup, you watch a little TV, a little self-care.
It was a good cold day.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Mitch even ate it.
Yeah.
Hard to get Mitch to eat some vegetables and beans.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's a real review.
What would, if you were going to rate it, what would you rate it? Honestly, it's okay if it's not.
No, I on a scale of soups.
Yes.
Because soup is different from like a cheeseburger.
Yeah, we're not comparing it to pizza.
Yeah. On a scale of soups, I honestly would rate it like a 9.5.
Great. What for the extra points?
I don't know. Like I want to say 10, but like, is that crazy? It was like a 9.5, 10. Like there wasn't really anything missing. I just have had like, cheesy soups, which are like, you can't beat that.
Oh, really? I don't like a cheesy soup.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was really up my alley.
Okay.
If you know me, you know, sad soup. I have a thing about sad soups, which is Trader Joe's box soup, tomato soup. That was like my balling on a budget, need to save some money soup. I still eat it.
Those are good.
Yeah.
I eat that butternut squash one.
That's good too.
Mm.
But I like a tomato-based soup, stew, whatever. So I really enjoyed this one.
I enjoyed it too. And I'm not even vegetarian and I thought it was really good.
Thanks.
Yeah. So
thanks, Eating Well.
So that is our real review. We will link the recipe for you in our bio on Instagram. So go check it out.
Or email us and I'll send it to you directly.
Tori really wants some emails. So send us an email.
We've gotten some emails.
We have. On that note, do you want to do our social?
Sure. Please email us at gladwetalkedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any recipes you want to send us. Chanel now has a crock pot, so we can try some crock pot recipes out together. Or if you have beauty products, you want to say hello, email us. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Glad We Talked Podcast. And am I missing anything?
I think you nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Just like the soup.
And
I'm so glad we talked.
Me too. And I think next week we might be taking a little hiatus. We will not be doing an episode next week just because of the holidays.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone.
We are going to spend some much needed time resting and with our family.
Yep. And then we will come back getting to some more deeper content into January. That is kind of like our let's start talking about some serious things.
Yeah, and that will be the first week of January.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Great.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas, Chanel.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
All the things.
Bye.
Bye. Really?
I just had a yawn. I think it's appropriate for the topic today. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, go.
Do 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 do.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-da-da-da. Ba-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You got it.
I did. Bum, bum.
I love that.
It's-
Start again.